They say to never judge a book by its cover or a movie by its title. With that in mind, we're here to rewatch this poor attempt at a Vegas tourism video and prove to you that Very Bad Things is not what the title says, but is, in fact, not that bad. Welcome, one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies. Hello to all of our listeners in Lewiston, Maine, and around the world. How the heck are you guys doing? All right, I am very aware that not every movie is for everybody. Cinema is subjective. Enjoyment is at the leisure of the viewer. So we're not here to sit there and say this movie should be mandatory viewing for everyone who likes a good black comedy, but we're not saying that. Prepare yourself for a very biased episode. We're covering a film that we both absolutely love, Very Bad Things. And when I say both, I mean myself and my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay, but rewatching this, all I can wonder is, what is wrong with me? Because
Would you like a list?
Freaking love this movie. Let's start with this. Very Bad Things, I'm going to put it right out there, is one of my favorite movies, period. End of story.
I mean, if you go back to episode 50, episode 50, many moons ago, when we covered Repo the Genetic Opera, and we said on that show that film was kind of like a litmus test. You know, if you like this film, you're our people. Let me tell you, if you like Very Bad Things, you're probably our people as well, which also explains the relative smallness of our circle of friends. But I get it. This is also why people stay away. This is also why I get my own seat on the train. But Carrie, when this film came out, it was like an instant love for you.
It was. I mean, the cast, first of all, is stellar. I know we're going to talk more on that later, but this misfit band of brothers, groom and his groomsmen heading off to Vegas seems like such a simple concept. You know that there's going to be drugs and alcohol, but it takes a way darker turn, their trip to Vegas. And, apparently what happens in Vegas is supposed to stay in Vegas until it just drives these boys crazy. And I am here for every single dark and stormy moment. I freaking, you know what? I'm watching it and I'm like, wow, that's real twisted. And wow, they went, they could have had an out. They could have gone the right way, but then they took a way wrong turn at Albuquerque. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And the movie just gets better and better and better. And without saying too much, let's do this. Let's defend this movie. I am ready with my hacksaw or my bone saw to defend this movie.
All right. Well, let us not waste any more time with our preamble. Let us take Very Bad Things and give it a very good trailerize.
Thinking about getting married? You won't after watching this movie. Before Kyle Fisher marries a girl who proves that Barney Stinson's crazy hot scale is actual science, he's going off to Vegas to bachelor party down with his friends. Led by Robert Boyd, a man who's read way too many self-help life coach books in between all the hookers and blow, they're going to party like they're backstage at a Motley Crue concert. But when Michael tries a little penetration on the stripper, but misses the mark by a few feet, the boys have work to do. What follows is a cavalcade of paranoia, betrayal, murder, and the desecration of an innocent minivan. It's like they never left Vegas at all. Prepare yourself to bear witness to Very Bad Things. Rated R for Robert's Guide to Surviving a Vegas Bachelor Party.
You pretty much summed up the entire premise of the movie right there.
Right? Our apologies to anyone who drives a minivan at home now, because they really kind of poo-poo on the minivan. Well, I don't know why people got to poo-poo on the minivan. I like my minivan. I like my minivan just fine. And it's going to feel like we've talked about this movie before, because we kind of sort of have. If you go back earlier on in our episode back catalog, you'll notice that we have a movie called Rough Night, which is a gender-swapped version of Very Bad Things. Just happens to take place in Miami and stars Scarlett Johansson. But even that film was fun too. Nowhere near as raunchy or vile or as bad as this, but it's pretty bad too.
And that's what I noticed is Rough Night was almost kind of the lighter version. Like, it took the premise and, although pretty much stuck to the formula, it wasn't near as dark. I think I credit Christian Slater so much for the incredibly dark humor to really, make this movie stick the landing to be a dark comedy.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get into who is in this film. The movie stars Christian Slater, Jon Favreau, Cameron Diaz, Daniel Stern, Jeremy Piven, Leland Orser, and Jean Triplehorn. And there's an almost starring in this. The role of Michael, as played by Jeremy Piven, was originally cast as Adam Sandler.
Oh, no.
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 Well, he dropped out to do The Waterboy, so win-win for both. It was written and directed by Peter Berg. This is the first movie that he ever wrote and directed. Previously, he had done an episode of Chicago Hope and has gone on to do many other films. And of course, the film reunites Jon Favreau and Jeremy Piven after appearing together in 1994 in PCU. That's right, Gutter is a Tool.
Don't be that dude and wear the t-shirt of the band that you're going to see.
See, one of them should have worn a PCU t-shirt in this movie. That would have been so meta. But on a really nice note from Very Bad Things, during the making of this film, Jean Triplehorn and Leland Orser, the guy who played Moore, got together during the making of this film. They're still married to this day. So this film about a marriage gone way wrong spawned a marriage that is way right. And I freaking love that. Siskel and Ebert had actually declared this film one of the worst of 1998. And it makes me wonder, what the hell were they watching? Because they can't have been watching the same movie that we were. The film had a budget of $39 million. Worldwide, made just under 10, with only 9.8 million. When it was released on the November 27th, 1998 weekend, they released this on American Thanksgiving weekend. It debuted at number 11 with $3.2 million and was the lowest grossing debut of that week. The other movies that were debuting were, at number 5, Babe, Pig in the City with $6 million. Home Fries debuted at number 8 with $3.7 million. And just above Very Bad Things with $3.3 million, as opposed to the Very Bad Things $3.2 million, was the Jerry Springer film Ringmaster. By the way, the number one film was the second week of A Bug's Life, which made $33.2 million. However, there are some good accolades for this film. At the 2000 Golden Slate Awards in Hungary, it was nominated for Funniest Movie but lost to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, but Christian Slater won for Best Male Performance. At the 1998 Deauville Film Festival, it won the Fun Radio Trophy and was nominated for the Grand Special Prize but lost to Next Stop Wonderland. And at the San Sebastian International Film Festival was nominated for the Golden Seashell but lost to Wind with the Gone. However, the reason why we are here, as we shake our heads, are the critics. Over at Rotten Tomatoes, this film has a popcorn meter of 58%, so it still qualifies even on audience score, but the tomatometer sits at 40%, 40. At IMDb, 6.3 stars out of 10 for a 63% score. Metacritic, 33%. So there's your lowest score of everything. Letterboxd, 3.1 stars out of 5 for a 62%. And the movie database, 63%, giving this film the aggregate of 52.3%. So obviously, there are some numbers that are dragging it down, straight from the Tomatometer and from Metacritic. So take those out, and this is about a 60% movie. Is this where it should be living, at 60%? Or even is that even underrated?
In my opinion, it's low. I mean, I get it. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's cup of tea. Not everybody has really dark, sick, and twisted humor like maybe we do. But it's a good movie. If anything, the caliber of the actors. I mean, you named them. Come on, Jeremy Piven, Jon Favreau.
No, Mr. Star Wars himself these days, yeah.
Right? Like Christian Slater, Cameron Diaz, come on. Like Daniel Stern. It is a freaking talented cast. And you know what? They just work so well together. Like,
oh, and don't forget Jean Triplehorn. I know it's not a big role for her, but I mean, you know, she was also in Basic Instinct. She was also in Time Code, and I freaking love Time Code. Like, she has done some fantastic stuff.
And she was so great in this.
I know, right?
So great. The actors played their part so well, and it is so good because it's funny, but it's almost kind of like that humor where you nervous laugh.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, I shouldn't be finding this so funny, but it is, but it isn't. Yeah. But it just isn't.
The art of the black comedy is hard. I mean, I feel like the 80s really nailed it. You take a look at a film like Throw Mama from the Train. Straight up black comedy. It's not a slapstick film. It's not a ha 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 kind of film. It's a kind of film. It's one of the ones where you're right. You're not quite sure if you're supposed to laugh. And it's a very awkward laugh, but we're going to laugh along with it ourselves.
The world moves fast. Your workday, even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
But let's get to the breakdown. We start with the man at the center of everything because it's his bachelor party, Jon Favreau as Kyle Fisher. Your thoughts?
My God, what a baby face. He was so young in this. Not that he's not young and youthful now, but he was just a kid when this came out. What year?
1998 is when it came out.
Wow.
They were filming in 97.
My God.
Now, I mean, he's not the marquee name in this, right? Obviously, at the time this comes out, it's Christian Slater and Cameron Diaz. They're the big names on the front of the VHS box. Yeah, I said VHS. Sue me. But with Kyle, you have a good balance here, right? Christian Slater, as I kind of joked earlier, the world's worst life coach. You've got Daniel Stern and Jeremy Piven, who are both in their own rights, all sorts of cray-cray. Cameron Diaz, who is border on the neurotic in this. Kyle's almost like the nervous sane middle of everything.
Well, he just wanted to get married. And so did Cameron Diaz, but in her own
but
way.
was Kyle not holding that freaking wedding together with duct tape and a prayer? Because at the same time as he's trying to deal with the most oddly grouped group of friends that could ever go to Vegas together and a complete and utter on the edge bridezilla, Kyle's got to be taking something in order to be able to relegate everything.
No, but think about it, right? I think that his personality or his character, it was more in his character to, okay, something happened. It turned out very bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think left to his own choices, his own morals.
His moral compass. Yeah.
His own moral code would have had him do the right thing and go the straight and narrow. It wouldn't have been pretty, but at least it would have turned out to be a completely different movie if he had, followed the path that he would have chosen. But he had that extra stressor. He was anxious. He knew his wedding was coming up in a few days, and he didn't want to do anything to jeopardize that. That was his motivation. That was his end goal. And however it was to get there, whether clean or messy.
Very, very, very messy.
Very messy and very, obviously, my God, their morals had to be challenged. I mean, it broke Jeremy Piven's character. Although he seemed to be holding it down. Like, that's the interesting part about Michael, is that even when they go back home, and they have this weight now on their shoulders, and they have this anxiousness of are they going to get caught for their actions? And it's not just one body on their hands. They've got the blood of two people.
Yeah.
Which, it didn't have to happen that way. Thanks, Christian Slater.
World's worst life coach.
Right.
But, take a look at it from an ensemble point of view. Take a look at the five, right? Favreau, Slater, Stern, Piven, and Orser. Stern, Piven, and Slater are loud in this film. They're loud. Especially Stern and Piven. Because they're everyone's kind of on edge, right? You got Favreau and Orser, who are the calm center. They're like literally, they are the eye of the storm, right? That moment where you're caught up in the wind, and then everything clears for a moment. And you can step outside, you can catch a breath, take an initial look at the damage, knowing that the next wall of the storm is about to come through. But you need that in an ensemble. You can't have everyone turn to 11. You have to have some people who are at that happy room volume. And I think that works for Favreau here. Cameron Diaz as Laura Garrity Fisher, the bride-to-be. Your thoughts on her?
You mean Bridezilla?
Yes, very much so.
She was so crazy, and I loved it. I was so there for it. Completely unhinged. All she wanted to do was walk down the aisle, come hell or high water, flush the toilet like a big boy. She is walking down that aisle. For better or worse, doesn't matter. She just wants to get that ring on her finger. Like, I'm not fast forwarding to the end, but the final scene where it was kind of like, I don't know, karma struck.
like she was living in a circus sideshow.
Yeah. Oh, but it was just a very unfortunate outcome. She wanted to be married. She wanted to have the perfect life. And that was her vision. The cards she was dealt following, maybe not exactly the perfect fairy tale ending. Kind of broke her a little bit, which was sad to see, but in a really twisted way, it was kind of funny.
It's almost like Laura is a mocking take on like the the trad wife, right? The traditional wife, the everything is perfect and everything is picturesque and love is so great and nothing can stop that, right? It's that trad wife fantasy, And meanwhile, she goes from bridezilla to insecure to passive aggressive controlling, but yet it feels like it all fits in the character. And it's not like she's saying things for outright laughs, although the flush the toilet like a big boy line, that was brilliant. But this is not a comedic role, right? This is an on the edge character kind of role. Like you never know when she's going to snap and who she's going to snap at, right? Like there's so much. I almost want, like, there are some characters in this I want movies for themselves. We're going to get to one a little bit later where I want a movie based entirely on that character, and it could be such a good black comedy. But I mean, Laura is a commentary as much as she is a little extra agitation to the chaos gumbo that is this film.
Yeah, I think what put it into perspective was every thought that she had was about the wedding, right? Even when she's home and the guys are off in Vegas at the bachelor party, she's home, fidgeting with the seating arrangements and the chairs. She was so...
Thank God you weren't that crazy.
Incredible. Yeah, well, right. But she was incredibly focused on that one day, on that one event. I don't even think that she had like the picture perfect, life laid out in front of her. She just wanted to be a bride.
Yeah. But that's the trad wife illusion, right? The Leave It to Beaver kind of idea of what a wife should be. And it kind of skewers that. And I like how it skewers that, right? In the people who want everything to be that kind of, obviously this is, released in 98. So it's definitely not a reference of the time, but it's a reference now. She wants everything to be Instagram perfect, and it's not. Right? She's the kind of person who would probably like stage her entire house to make it look Instagram perfect, and at the same time as well be downing like a bunch of like Quaaludes just in order to keep her neuroses under control. Christian Slater as Robert Boyd. Now, we're talking Christian Slater, so I'm just going to let you start because I know.
This is one of my favorite, between this and Pump Up the Volume, my favorite Christian Slater roles, because he can play like the really quiet, I'm thinking Pump Up the Volume, but he was the quiet, reserved, new kid at the school. But he had this incredibly outspoken, larger than life persona as he's a radio DJ. In this role, he is just all crazy. Like he lets his... And again, when you say he's the worst life coach, right? He is literally just regurgitating and spewing all of the, idealistic self-help, how to feel okay when things aren't okay in your life. And in this particular situation where these five guys run into a really unfortunate situation that they're faced with. They didn't ask to be put into that position, but here they are. So he automatically turns into this, like, I dare say serial killer. Like it's almost kind of like there was no moral question. There was no, right or wrong. It was, this is how we're going to do it. And this is how we're going to bury the problem.
There are three Christian Slater roles that I kind of hold up there as his best, and you nailed two of them, right? This one and Pump Up the Volume. The other one is He Was a Quiet Man. Fantastic 2007 film. If you have not seen it, it's a different take for Christian Slater, but it also stars Alicia Cuthbert and William H. Macy. Fantastic film. Definitely not this character. But I mean, really, 1998. No one else is getting this role. It's almost like it was tailor-made for Christian Slater. It's almost like you could hear his voice in the words being written on the page at the time that they're being written. But I mean, this Robert is the case of misplaced confidence. Straight up misplaced confidence, right? Everything is a test. Everything is a challenge to be overcome. He's a beta man trying to be the alpha, right? He's the kind of character who puts on his pants and looks in the mirror and says, yeah, that's how it's done, right? Like, he's that kind of guy. And the funny thing is, a little bit later, out comes American Beauty. And Annette Bening's character is kind of like that. And the funny thing is, both Annette Bening's character in American Beauty and Robert Boyd in this film, they're both real estate agents. So I don't know if Hollywood has a thing against real estate agents, but I mean, he's the king of the freaking world in his own mind. And he's alphaing over everybody, right? And he's straight up using his own self-help load of crap mantras to convince everyone to do what he thinks is right, right? He is the devil on everyone's shoulder.
Yes, that is the best way to describe Christian Slater in this movie.
Yeah. It's like the rest of the people are the party and Lucifer just showed up. That's kind of how it feels like with Robert Boyd. But the other thing too is that his own confidence gives way to everything that goes wrong. I mean, yes. The stripper dying, that's an accident. Stripper being there, I mean, that's all Robert Boyd. But everything else after that, it's Robert Boyd's fault.
That's the thing. He had his own little darkness to begin with. Like, he didn't hesitate to take out the hotel security guard. He didn't hesitate. He would have sliced up Daniel Stern's wife.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there was no question. She started asking questions and he was going to end her right there.
But the ball is rolling.
Yeah.
The body count is a perpetual motion rolling ball down a hill, and he's just literally on the fly coming up with new ways to add to it because he feels like it's the only way out, and everyone else is getting dragged along with him. And Christian Slater dances in this role. He absolutely does.
You know what gets me the most about his character is when, case in point, when Kyle and Laura take over the parenting role for the children, and Christian Slater shows up and he's like, I want that money, like what, first of all, what money? How did you, assume that you would be?
Robert Boyd had to know, right? Because it's a group of friends, right? So he had to know that Kyle and Laura were the godparents, right? That this is not a secret, So with the death of both parents, obviously the savings and the house and all that kind of stuff, they would be transferred over to Kyle and Laura in order to be able to help raise the kids. Robert is a real estate agent, so he's versed in a lot of contract law, and that's in it as well, especially too when you think about it. When you're selling houses, you're probably, talking to your potential customers about things like this. So it makes sense that Robert would have an idea, but of course he probably just takes a look at the grand scheme of things. He sees that house, he sees the potential life insurance, but he doesn't think about all the deductions. He's probably thinking there's $500,000 there, and he wants his cut for trying to keep Kyle out of the hoosgow. But there's only $14,000, right? Not that he cares. He does all this bad stuff and then expects a thank you payment. That's the kind of ego that you're dealing with Robert. Daniel Stern as Adam Burkow. So this is the father of the kids that Kyle and Laura eventually get. Your thoughts on him?
Oh my God. He was so great. Like, he's just so much fun to watch. He's so kind of neurotic, but you know that he wants to go along to, to get along, but he's worried about everything, and he's just, I see him as a good man, husband and father, and he probably would have been just as happy to stay home, but he had the minivan, so he got to drive his group of friends down to Vegas and kind of go along. He's just kind of going along with everything. No doubt he would be the first to crack mentally, and that's kind of where all of this started to unravel. He left that letter to his wife, and almost as a confession, and the guys didn't know what was in it.
Yeah.
Robert Boyd, literally thought that he spelled everything out.
And of course, as he's dying, he whispers something into his wife's ear, and everyone's trying to guess what the hell he told her. The thing, though, and this is where I can almost see where the critics would find something to knock on. Not necessarily the regular movie-going audience like us, who just freaking love this film, but I'm going to try and point out some, not necessarily criticisms of the film, but spots where I think the critics may have actually hooked on to this, in that, and again, spoilers like a mofo, because this is where it's about to go down. All right. I knew right off the bat that Adam was going to be the first of the 5 to die right away. The reason why is because right from the get-go, they isolated him, right? He's not one of the cool kids, right? He's upper management, even though he's Michael's brother and is still friends with everybody. But he's that one member of the group of friends that got promoted, and now it's almost like driven a wedge between them. And even in the car trip on the way down, the entire time he's trying to get everyone to calm down, at the same time trying to get Kyle off his cell phone, because in 1998, free long distance doesn't exist. Also, the technology in this aged me rewatching this film in 2026. But the whole way through, up to the point of his death, they isolated him as not necessarily being the one on board. He's the last guy to put up his hand when it comes to deciding to chop up the bodies and get rid of them, right? He's reluctantly pulled in, and you have to know that Robert's looking at him going like, I'm going to have to keep an eye on this guy. He's going to be the first to crack. He's going to be the first guy I have to deal with. And it's a little telegraphed, but I love what Daniel Stern did with the character.
Okay, but with that said, you can't possibly tell me that you foretold his ending.
I didn't know how it was going to go down, on first watch, but I knew he was going to be the first one dispatched. But it's one of those things where if you telegraph your pecking order, if you will, it kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it, make it a little bit more mysterious. And again, that's nothing against the performance of Daniel Stern. I liked him in it. You had to have someone who was able to confidently play the outsider of the group. And I think he does that very well. Plus, the gas station scene where the kids are screaming at him for whizzers, and the wife is like, just get the whizzers, and he thinks like everyone is looking at him. Like, that scene was directed with such a level of tension and anxiety and paranoia, and you felt it in every single move.
See, that's exactly it. Not only did he have that like walking anxiety, like just that feeling, it was almost kind of like, I don't know if he was mimicking like being absolutely stoned, but just that feeling of everybody knows, that police officer knows what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And everything from, and I'm sure the makeup department needs to be credited here, because that sweat, that glistening, it's almost kind of like he is literally a walking panic attack. Like, it was so well done. That the gas station scene, and when he gets to the wedding, and you just take one look at him and you're like, okay, he is losing it right now.
But also that scene, right, at the rehearsal dinner where, he's like clearly staring off into like a paranoid future. Meanwhile, Kyle and Robert are exchanging looks at him and then at each other kind of thing. Like, you could see just the growing, building tension and everything.
That's what I meant. He actually didn't make it to the wedding. So
Yeah.
I need to correct myself there. It was the rehearsal dinner. And yeah, he is just literally losing it. It's almost kind of like at that point, the guys know they
Yeah.
need to get him out of there. They need to, they need to diffuse the situation. And between Michael and his brother,
Yeah.
Jeremy Piven.
And then you have his brother, Michael Burko, played by Jeremy Piven. And I need to say this. Thank God it wasn't Adam Sandler.
Yeah, as much as I like Adam Sandler, I really do. I don't think this would have been the role for him.
Mm-hmm. But to that token, you have to think that in some times when someone is writing a movie, they probably have an actor in mind for the role that they're writing, right? I mean, every single Christopher Walken film these days feels like the dialogue was written for him to have some weird, existential out of body moment kind of monologue. And you just hear Christopher Walken's voice. Here, there were times I'm like, did you specifically write this for Adam Sandler? Because the funeral scene just seems so over the top for Piven. It's the only scene in this film where I would go back and redo it, right? Where he's like climbing on top of, his widowed sister-in-law like a freaking koala bear, and then like flailing over the coffin. And I get the emotion of the scene and the building paranoia around everything, but that just, Jeremy Piven felt over the top of this, and it felt like this was an Adam Sandler moment in the writing.
Okay, but I don't even think it was meant for Adam Sandler. I think it just clearly shows the emotion and just he was overcome with emotion and with guilt.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, he is just like, he is all guilt. He killed his brother. He literally drove his car right into, he was aiming for the minivan, let's be honest.
Right.
He probably didn't anticipate that his brother would stand in the way, but here we are. So he was just guilt-ridden.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is that before this, though, prior to this scene, this moment, you have that brother tension, right? Because clearly with Adam getting promoted at the job that they both work at, and this is obviously the little brother, right? This is the immature brother. This is the brother with an inferiority complex in relation to Adam. Because think about it, right? Adam's got the wife and the two kids and the minivan and the promotion and the nice house. And what does Michael have, right? You could see Michael like during the actual bachelor party scene, like he's rocking back in his chair, like he's spotting his moment to alpha, his moment to be the man, right? Where he's gonna, I want to ride kind of thing, and then he brings the stripper into the bathroom, right? And that's where everything starts. But you could almost feel the inferiority complex. And I think with an actor like Piven, right, he's a good comedic actor, but he's also a good serious actor as well. He found a spot in Michael where he could lean into that younger brother inferiority complex. And then just as his world is collapsing, the whole ghost, we're ghost, right? Like that whole scene in the diner is great. It's only the funeral scene, and I don't know why it stands out to me, but it felt a little out of place. It's the only one, and it's not against Jeremy Piven. It feels like the one singular straight attempted comedy moment as opposed to just living in black comedy kind of style.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just that, I mean, every tragic moment in this movie seems to revolve directly around Michael.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, that again, that weight of guilt. It was just so unhinged that I think that it didn't dawn on me, or it didn't seem out of place. I mean, obviously it seemed way extreme, but at that point he is literally losing grip on reality.
Mhm.
Like, you know, he is just so surrounded by very bad things happening, and they all seem to, again, are directly related to him, whether it's intentional. It wasn't his fault that, you know, the stripper came to her demise. I mean, he just got caught up in a moment.
Yeah.
And that misplaced hook in the bathroom, I mean, really, it was an unfortunate accident. And had the guys just dealt with it as, okay, it was an unfortunate accident, if they went the straight and narrow, it would have been a completely different movie.
Yep.
But if they had at least called 911 and, you know, kind of owned up to the fact that it happened. It's a tragic accident, but it happened. It would have been a completely different movie. But here we are. He is so guilt-ridden by that, by the disposing of not one, but two bodies, and then coming back, losing complete connection with reality, and then wind up killing his brother unintentionally in a vehicle accident. It wasn't an accident. He was aiming for the minivan, but, you know, he killed his brother.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of blood on his hands, and just that madness. I think Piven, out of all of the actors, and I couldn't see Adam Sandler carrying that through.
Not at all. Would you say, though, that kind of gave Hooker a whole new meaning? Oh, I went there, didn't I?
You've been waiting for that one, haven't you?
Just sitting on it. It's all. But I will say that the stripper death scene in this is a little on the unrealistic side, because there's no way, given the height and the angle, that he was going to be able to, you know, put as much force into that. Because, I mean, he had her lifted up, right? So it's not like, you know, it went into her back and severed her spinal cord or something. The stripper death scene in Rough Night's a little bit more realistic, but, you know, we're you know, suspending disbelief.
And she was indeed suspended.
And you thought mine was bad.
Whew.
It's football season, and you can now get almost anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. What do we mean by almost? Well, you can't get a running back delivered, but you can get baby back ribs delivered. A strong defense? No. A strong deodorant? Yes. A six-pack of abs? Nope. Six-pack of beer? Yes. Get almost anything for game day delivered with Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL. Order now. Alcohol 21 plus and in select cities. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
By the time I hit my 50s, I'd learned a few things, like how family is precious. Work can always wait. And 99% of people over 50 already have the virus that causes shingles. Not everyone at risk will develop it, but I did. The painful, blistering rash disrupted my life for weeks. Don't learn about your shingles risk the hard way. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Leland Orser as Charlie Moore. So this is the fifth member of the group. And they even say straight up, like, you know, he's a little bit of an oddball, he's a little quiet, but your thoughts on him?
I liked him. I think of all of the guys, I liked his character probably the best because he was the quiet one.
Mm-hmm.
And
he was a quiet man.
It's almost kind of like, I wonder if it would have been a very different movie if he had been the one with the stripper.
No, No, I think it needed to be Jeremy Piven because of that brother dynamic. I mean, here's the thing, though. The way I take a look at this group of 5, right? Everything centers around Kyle's wedding, right? He is the reason for everyone being there, right? Everything happens because of Robert acting on things that Michael did. Adam is the one that's cast out. But then every now and then you have to have a character in a film that's not necessarily there to be part of the group or part of the cast. Sometimes you have a character there that's meant to be us, the viewer, witnesses to the chaos. I find that Charlie Moore is that for us. You know, he stays out of everything pretty well. Yes, admittedly, has a thing against coffee tables, but everything else, it's almost like he's along for the ride. He bears witness to all the very bad things, but you need that in the group. And again, similar to Kyle, right? You need someone to have a bit more ground and center. It makes sense to me why Kyle and Charlie are friends. Because think about it, right? If Kyle is dealing with neurotic bridezilla at home, you have to think that Charlie's kind of a calm presence in his life. So it makes sense that he's with the group, even though the rest of the group is just bat freaking insane. But I liked him in this.
I liked him too. He was almost kind of the anchor.
Mm.
You know, he was, again, like that quiet, steady force.
Yeah. Speaking of, Jean Triplehorn as Lois Burkow. This is Adam's wife, Michael's sister-in-law, and also eventually dearly departed. But your thoughts on her in this?
I liked her. I mean, she played it so well. Where, you know, she's just the wife and mother. She knows that the boys are going off to Vegas and, you know, they're probably going to have a couple drinks and get silly. No way would she expect, you know, that they'd come back with blood on their hands. So of course, when her husband comes back and he's really not quite the same, you know, think about it, right? Like, she's got to be real suspicious because her husband is losing his mind and then proceeds to unfortunately come to his demise later.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course she's going to be suspicious. And when she finds that confession letter, I think she played it so well that she was like, tell me what happened, come clean, or I'm going to call the police.
Yeah, because you still have Michael there, right?
Yeah.
So you still have family there. And it's one of those things where, you know, she's almost looking for a reason to protect her brother-in-law, right? To protect the memory of her husband. And there's something, remember how I said earlier, I want a whole ass movie on a character in this film? I want a whole ass movie on Lois. Now, hear me out on this, right? You have this perfect suburban mom, right? 2 kids. You know, basically she's the epitome of what Laura wants for her life, right? Nice house, 2 kids, working husband, all good, right? But then this woman fights like a freaking vicious animal. Like an unleashed feral creature of doom when it comes time to fight for her life. Like, you have to think that she's like, you know, when the kids are off at school and the husband's off at work, what is she doing? Krav Maga in the freaking basement? Training to kill people?
Hey.
Look, there is so much more to Lois that I want to know, because to that token, right? She clearly keeps Adam in line. Adam is clearly afraid of her. What does she do?
It looks like a nice suburban neighborhood with their nice minivan, but I don't know, maybe she was afraid of home break-ins.
She went straight for the in that fight.
Okay, but if it was a question of, now clearly Boyd is like a piece of work.
Oh, he's gone past the point of no return in that. He is 50 miles down the past the point of no return. But that's the fight in that scene. The fact that she gave as good as she got. Lois is such a fascinating character in the things that we don't know about her that I want a Lois film.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it, right? She was so quick to accept the possibility that her husband went to Vegas and had an affair.
Although I think she didn't want to believe it at first, right? But again, someone like that might see, a husband's infidelity as more a commentary on herself. So I don't know whether she's not believing it because, her husband's a good man, or she's not believing it because, that would mean that there was something wrong with their marriage. So again, it's a bit of a commentary on the trad wife, picture perfect, white picket fence kind of, vision of suburban life, that everything breaks in this. Two more characters to talk about, both small roles, but very important themselves. Kobe Tai, who played Tina. This is the stripper. They did actually hire a mattress actress for this one, but your thoughts on her?
I mean, she was great. It was sad to see how she left this world.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't overt, right? It wasn't necessarily like it was a good role for her. And I think it worked perfectly. Like even the scene where she's straight up negotiating with Michael, like that's a good scene. And obviously you didn't want to dwell too much into it, but I think it worked enough for this. And then you had Russell B. McKenzie as the security guard, who also kind of met an unfortunate end in that same bathroom. But your thoughts on him?
He was great. I mean, I like the fact that, he was almost kind of chummy with the guys until he caught a glimpse in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was chumming with them the minute they put a wad of cash in his hand.
Well,
right?
yes. Yeah.
And I'm sure he's seen way worse than a broken coffee table and a little bit of blow on things, right? But that's this. First of all, I loved him in this role. He killed it in this role. The howl of fear and pain and like that dying cry that he gives behind that bathroom door. Oh my God, that is chills. That is horrific. And I love the fact that we didn't see inside that moment. All we saw were the five guys holding the door closed while the security guard was dying on the inside.
Now, I'm not a forensic expert. I'm not. But if he's banging on the door consistently until he succumbs to his wounds,
mm-hmm.
How the hell did he get from the door across the dead body of the stripper to the opposite side of the rather large bathroom?
In the bathtub. Perfectly sitting down.
Right. To completely collapse into the tub, having his feet conveniently hanging over the edge. I don't buy his death scene, but I'm not going to question it.
That's the problem you have with this scene?
That is the problem I have with the movie.
Okay, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. And again, this is not against Russell B. McKenzie. I thought he slayed the role.
I thought Boyd slayed him.
Well, yes, but
womp
womp. But here's the problem. This is in a Vegas hotel. They're in the penthouse, right? If you've ever been to a Vegas hotel, you know that there are more than one security guard on call or on duty at all times, right? This isn't like, oh yeah, I'm at the Motel 6, up in Paramus. No. This is a big Vegas hotel. And any complaints that were lodged, any noise complaints, they're going to be logged in their log. So the hotel's going to know who went to which room to focus on a complaint. They're going to know he doesn't show up for the rest of his shift.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that this security guard is being, like, unfound for what, 24 hours?
And furthermore, when the newspaper ran what they deemed a missing persons article.
Right.
Okay, so his last known whereabouts was when he was at work.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you're right. They would have had log and records of
and
the
freaking
noise.
Video cameras.
Well, not only that, but I mean, they would have known who, whose name the room was rented out to.
Now, this could also explain Robert Boyd's homicidal need in order to be able to cover all the tracks because it's his name on the hotel room.
Yeah, but that might, make him not want to kill the security guard.
Or kill everybody.
He was way too willing to end the security guard. He was ready. He was like, yeah, this is the only way out. This is how we're going to deal with this.
Because Robert thought that in his mind, the other four were just going to cave right then and there to a security guard right at the last minute. So he escalated the situation. Yes, he did. But I mean, how does the hotel and the cops not take a look at everything in the hotel and say, this group of 5 guys that were making a ton of noise, and all of a sudden, you're paying for a broken coffee table and all that, and this security guard went to that hotel room and never came back. Maybe these 5 guys know what's going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The Vegas police were not on their game, in properly investigating and tying together the loose ends.
But also, and I'm going to point this out right now, because this is another one of those little convenient plot holes that allows the movie to continue to happen. Carrie, I want to put you in a situation here. I want to role play this for you, okay?
You want me to role play very bad things.
But a very specific character that we haven't talked about yet, okay? So imagine, if you will, you're working the overnight shift at a 24-hour Walmart or Target, okay? And a group of 5 guys looking a little frazzled show up with shopping carts full of shovels, extra suitcases, a whole lot of plastic wrap, a bone saw or some kind of large cutting device or 2, one of them being an electric one, and a bunch of suits that look like you could walk into a hazmat scene. How is this not a major red flag in Vegas? Am I missing something about late night shopping in Vegas that this is normal? But if you're working at Target at 11 o'clock at night and this is the order you got to ring through, are you not calling 911 afterwards going, yeah, I just found a bunch of really sus guys, and they're either throwing the world's weirdest barbecue or they're about to cut up somebody, because they seem to have... It's like everyone who went to a freaking hardware store for a rope and whatever after watching 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe you're putting a bit too much thought into it. More thought than the Vegas police that didn't think to question this. Not only that, but I know it's Vegas, and I know that they drove probably into the middle of the desert somewhere, but there were no cars. There were no people around. They were there pretty long. They had to unpack the suitcases and
dig a hole big enough for 2 bodies.
The bodies in order to put them back together and then put them back in the suitcases.
Yeah. There's just a few plot conveniences in the film to make the film happen. It doesn't take away from the movie. It's just that when you watch it, from the perspective of real people, right? The Vegas cops and some late night Walmart worker are going to be able to solve this case way before the rest of the movie actually happens.
I think you're way overthinking it.
I know I'm way overthinking it, but we have a movie podcast. We review movies. We go back and rewatch. This is what we do.
Just enjoy it for its madness and dark humor.
But the thing is, I love it. It doesn't take away anything from me, right? I'm with the audience on this. I think the film is great. I love it. I think it's one of the pinnacles of black comedies from the 90s. But there are plot holes that are big enough to drive a truck full of bodies through. But that's a critic's probably point of view, right? This is why this film probably qualifies, because those are two plot holes that could have easily rolled credits about 20 minutes into the movie and we wouldn't have had the rest of it. But if you don't have those plot conveniences, you can't have the rest of the film. Doesn't ruin it for me, but I could see someone sitting on their high horse going, well, exactly. They would just cross-reference the credit card charges from the person reporting the thing at the Walmart at 2:00 in the morning. And yes, we solved the case.
Well, but then you could have wrapped up the movie. I mean, you could have even had the guys call the police and come clean in the beginning.
Also, you get back to the hotel, right? You get back to the hotel and you're bringing in all this gear. Why is someone bringing an electric saw into a hotel room in Vegas?
If they were smart, they would have tucked it into the suitcase. Nobody questions the suitcases coming in.
Okay, I'll give you that one. But yeah. But I mean, I do. I think this is good. I think it's a great film. It's fun. If you like black comedy, it's a must watch, I think. And this is a good film for everyone in the cast. I think it's perfectly cast for the roles that you had. I don't think I'd change a single actor at all. But now it's time. So, for Very Bad Things, who's your very good person?
Ooh. This is tough because, like I said, even just the group of guys, right? You've got 5 guys, each playing their part. And without each one of those characters, I mean, it wouldn't be the same. If it were 4, again, it worked out perfectly that you've got really the mastermind who's
one of these days I'm going to get some stalling music to play while you go through this.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Christian Slater just because I think this is a perfectly unhinged yet methodical, and it's almost kind of like he was able to play on his dark senses, and yeah, Christian Slater just came to play. Like, he was having fun in this role. He just ate it up. And I think, without Boyd masterminding this entire series of unfortunate events, we wouldn't have the same movie. So here we are.
I mean, you're absolutely right. He is my MVP as well. I mean, this is the center of the film, right? Even though it's Kyle's bachelor party and Kyle's the ones getting married and Kyle's the ones who we have to protect, it's Christian Slater all the way. This is a masterpiece performance from him in a film that allows him to be able to explore both funny and dark at the same time, which is something that not many other actors could do. And yeah, it's one of my favorite Christian Slater films of all time, and it's a really good one as well. Gary, thank you so much for this. And to you, our dear listeners, until next time, you know the drill. If there is a movie out there that you think is unfairly maligned or is so bad that there is no way in a Vegas hotel room that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadcast or go to our website, notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, check out our merch shop. We have new lower prices on all of our merch, so check it out if you want to help support the show. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.